Hi, moms. My name is Ann Levitz. I'm a homeschool mom. I have 3 kids. 8-year-old boy. He's going into 3rd grade. A 5-year-old girl going into kindergarten, and I have a little 2-year-old tag-along that just likes to make messes of our crafts as we homeschool. I know we have a lot of new members in the group. We have a lot of people new to homeschooling and curious about Utah's requirements and the 2 online charters. We have people moving in from out of state that are curious, and then we have some veteran families that they've homeschooled, but they've just done the affidavit. Sorry, my 8-year-old interrupted. Like I said, we have some veteran families that have done the affidavit, and now they're maybe curious about my Tech High or Harmony Ed. So I'm going to go over this section of my PowerPoint from our homeschool parent meeting in May and go over a few of these things. And I'm going to preface this with I have been with Harmony Ed for 3 years. This will be my 4th year we're going into with my kids. So I've never done my Tech High. The information in this PowerPoint is gathered from friends that have done my Tech High. When I made the PowerPoint, I asked my Tech High friends for information about how my Tech High works. And so this is going to go a little more in-depth in Harmony just because I can, because I have that knowledge, I have that information. But it'll give you, I believe, a good enough comparison to choose which one is right for your family. I'm going to say that I really don't believe one of them is better than the other, because I believe it's about what fits your family. So I really don't think that there's one that's superior to the other, and they just both have their pros and cons, and hopefully after this PowerPoint, you'll know the pros and cons of each, and you can decide which school is better for you, or if you want to do no school. So we'll just get started here. The state of Utah requires that all homeschool families submit a signed and notarized affidavit stating that your child will be attending a homeschool and that the parents assume sole responsibility for the education of their children. You only need to submit the affidavit once as long as you stay in the school's district. So if you live here in Hurricane and you move to Cedar City, which is Iron County, not Washington County, you'll need to submit a new affidavit if you move back to Hurricane. Or if you put your kids back in public school and then take them out, you'll need to submit a new affidavit at that point. But if you don't do any of those things and you just homeschool for however long you do, you only need to submit the affidavit once. You can also choose to enroll in one of the 2 online charter schools, My Tech High or Harmony Ed. Your child will still technically be in public school if you go this route. But all the education happens at home and at your discretion, how you choose, how fits your kid. It's really very similar to homeschooling because you don't have to do anything online. The only difference is you do have somebody to report to. The state of Utah does not require any reporting if you fill out that affidavit. They don't really care what you do and what you teach your kid after you sign that affidavit. With Harmony Ed and My Tech High, they do care, and that's what you're kind of giving in exchange for that access to funds to buy things for your homeschool journey. Is you're going to have to report in some manner what your child is learning. And I'm going to go over that when I get into those. There also may still be a need to fill out an affidavit depending on the school district you're partnered with. So how these charter schools work is they have a few school districts they work with and they put you in that school district. And it's not necessarily Washington County. I am personally partnered with Wasatch County through Harmony Ed, and I know that Harmony also partners with Iron County and Garfield County, and I've heard that some Garfield County people, I believe it is, had to still fill out the affidavit that Garfield County required that. So just know that that's a possibility. You'll still be enrolled with Harmony Ed or My Tech High, but there is a possibility that you may still have to at some point fill out that affidavit. Christine had a physical one at our parent homeschool meeting, and I will see if she can send that to me, and I'll put that in the files with this video in case you don't want to do the online charters and you just want to sign the affidavit. Harmony Ed. So you get access to $1,800 in funds for 1st through 12th grade. I know this PowerPoint says 9th grade. When I made this PowerPoint, I was going off of information from when I first joined Harmony Ed that they did not have the high school grades yet. They do now. They go all the way to 12th grade, just like My Tech High. So for 1st through 12th grade, you get $1,800 in funds. For kindergarten, you get $900 for funds. Kindergarten is not required in the state of Utah, and this is why you get less. And this is in exchange for reporting what your child is learning. The reason I use the word access, you get access to these funds, is you don't get a check. You're not going to get a check for $1,800 and then you get to spend it however you want. There are ways that you get to spend this, and I'm going to go into that with both of them. And there are different reporting options. So with Harmony, you have three really big main reporting options. You have portfolio. This is what my family currently does. You will do answer a weekly question, something like, what if you were a superhero, what would your superpower be? And 5 to 8 examples of work per subject per quarter. So if you look down here, subjects for kindergarten to 6th grade are language arts, math, science, and 1 elective. This year my son will be doing, actually my son and my daughter both, will be doing language arts, math, science, and history, because history is not required yet. It is considered an elective. My son's really into World War II, so we're going to do history for our elective. So I will need to submit 5 to 8 examples per kid per quarter for language arts, math, science, and history. The way I do this is I have these little Star Wars notebooks, and my son does 1 page a day, and after 2 weeks I have more than enough examples and I turn it in. For science, I do not have a science workbook. We are very hands-on for science. We don't really create a lot of paperwork. So what I do when the quarter is up is I print out this little like generic experiment worksheet, and I fill it out for the experiments we did, and I turn that in for my kids. For 7th grade, you're going to have language arts, math, science, and history are required, and I believe it is going to be 2 electives at that point. And you can do a simple elective like their reading elective, which is they have to turn in like a book report a semester, and the book report can be a video or things like that. And for portfolio, I'll note that the examples of work do not have to be worksheets. You can turn in pictures of your children doing the science experiments. You can turn in videos of your children explaining what they learned in that science experiment or things like that. It does not have to be worksheets. Worksheets are just easier for me. That's just what I do. Your second reporting option is going to be called independent, flex independent. So there's flex independent and flex independent direct. There's 2 different ones. They operate fairly the same. You're going to answer the same weekly question that you would for portfolio, and you have the 1 worksheet per subject every 2 weeks. Harmony Ed gives you these worksheets. They give them to you online. They give them to you to print at home, and they will mail them to you if you want. The difference between flex independent and flex independent direct is direct that gets you like online teacher videos explaining like teaching your kid what's on the worksheet. And that's the only difference other than I believe price. And then online classes, they have their own schedule. The online classes typically keep track for you and report to Harmony your child's progress. And you have to like hit so much of the program by the quarter or semester or something for your child with the online ones. These are the reporting options. You can mix and match. So say I wanted to do portfolio for science and I wanted worksheets for math and language arts to make it easier, or I wanted to do different things, or say I liked their Moby Max for math online curriculum class. I could do that for math and do portfolio or independent for language arts or science. So you can really build your classes how you want. With that in mind, these classes take a cost out of your funds. So for portfolio, it's the cheapest option. It takes $25 per subject out of your funds. So for my child, doing language arts, math, science, and his elective being history, he's going to lose $100 of that funds to those. So he'll end up with $1,700 that I get to spend however I choose on approved items. Furniture, religious materials, clothes, and food are not approved items. If you have a question about whether an item is approved or not, you get a mentor. Typically what I do is when I'm ready to submit my Amazon wish list and my direct resource order, I message my mentor, I show her what I want, and I say, is all this approved? And she gets back to me usually within 24 to 48 hours, tells me it's approved, and I submit it. I have had very little be not approved. I think the only item I really wanted one time that was not approved was a backpack, because they just don't approve backpacks. I guess they count it under clothes. I'm not really sure. But other than that, I've had subscriptions, admissions, internet reimbursed, technology, all kinds of things. They paid for my Epson EcoTank printer that I absolutely love and use all the time for homeschool. We are getting a 3D printer this year. We've gotten a Lego Spike Prime robot. We've gotten board games. My MyZooBox subscription that we use to do the Zookeepers Club, I do once a month for the homeschool group. That is paid for by Harmony. There's a lot of things, and it's really fun to kind of go through with your kids and see what they're interested in, extracurriculars, and have Harmony pay for that. I really enjoy that. So you can have direct resource orders where they purchase it for you, so no money has to come out of your pocket. You can do that twice in a school year, once a semester. It's July 1st through September, I believe, for first semester, and then it's December 1st to January 31st for second semester. You submit it all at once, and you submit like an Amazon wish list and put like a website down and all these things to get them to order directly for you. And then you can get reimbursed for things 10 times in a school year, so about once a month. You can submit multiple receipts that once a month, and you just submit the receipts and then they send you a check. My Tech High. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to really go into depth into My Tech High. There's events and other people for that, and if you can make that event and you're really interested in My Tech High, I really would go, because it's going to be very informative. Anyways, so let's dive into this. This is information I've gathered from my friend Crystal, who is in My Tech High, and just kind of comparing and contrasting things in conversations at park days and stuff between me and my Tech High friends. You're going to get access to funds. The amount you get is going to vary depending on the programs and courses you choose for your child. My Tech High is very different in the way they frame these courses. And so you can get more than this number I've put on the screen. You can get more than $1,625. However, that just depends on how you build your courses. All custom built classes is the closest I really think you can get in comparing My Tech High and Harmony. Custom built classes sounds very similar to portfolio. Obviously minus the reporting, because My Tech High's reporting is very different. But I believe in how My Tech High structures things versus how Harmony Ed structures things. All custom built is as close as you're going to get to portfolio in comparison. So for all custom built, you're going to get $1,625. access to funds. Reporting from My Tech High, no matter how you build your classes, is 1 weekly learning log, 3 to 5 sentences about what your child learned that week. And I've had my friends, they have older children, so they make their older children write their own learning logs, and they will type things as like, I went to Lego robotic class this week and we learned to build this on the Spike Prime and it was fun. And that's what they put in there, and that passed for the learning log. So it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It can be really simple. I've seen people do checklists, where they just, check that they did these things that week and they turn in the checklist as their learning log. I've seen lots of different ways and heard of lots of different ways that people do their learning logs. You can have direct ordering done for you, or you can get reimbursed. You have homeroom, math, language arts, science, or social studies, technology or entrepreneurship, core or elective of your choosing, and an optional second core or elective of your choosing, which is required if you have a diploma-seeking student in the high school grades. Again, I can't really go into how they build these classes and what that means, but this is how they break down your funds. You're going to get so many funds for each of these classes, and then it's going to total amount depending on how you build these classes. And you're going to get access to fun online educational sites and programs for free. You're going to get that with Harmony too. Last year we got Adventure Island or Treasure, I don't know. I didn't use them. And Reading Eggs. And maybe a couple more. Again, we didn't use them. My son doesn't do great with online, so we didn't use them. But you get access to them for free. And you'll get access to some of the same and maybe others with My Tech High. So that's kind of the overview of My Tech High. Here's your big main differences. You might end up with getting a little bit more money with Harmony. If you're comparing the two, $1,700 to $1,625, all custom built versus Portfolio, which is about the closest comparison I can find between the two programs, you're getting about $75 more with Harmony. It's going to be slightly easier to spend your money with Harmony. My Tech High does section out their money by course. I've heard there are workarounds. Don't know what they are. I don't know if it's true. I have heard there are workarounds though if you need the math budget for something not math related or things like that. Harmony doesn't do this though. They don't section out the money. For example, this year I'm not buying like a single language arts related thing for my son because I already have his language arts program for the next couple years because he's dyslexic, and Harmony's not going to care that I don't buy anything for language arts. It doesn't matter to them as long as the items are approved items. It doesn't matter. And as long as I turn in his examples showing that he's doing language arts, it doesn't matter to them. So, it is a little easier to spend your money. You don't really have to work around like, oh, I don't need any technology. How do I use my tech fund or things like that? Like you do with My Tech High. And it's a little easier to spend less money out of pocket with Harmony than My Tech High. My Tech High, I believe they upped it to a few more websites this year, but last school year, it was only 2 approved websites that they would direct order from. I've heard that the direct order time frame is like shorter and later in the year than Harmony Ed's is. But one example that I have that I personally lived through is I was able to put Lego.com on my direct order to order the Lego Spike Prime robot. It was a little under $400, and that's retail cost from Lego directly of the robot. A friend bought a robot for her family. She did not want to wait to get reimbursed, so she asked My Tech High to direct order it. Because Lego was not an approved website for My Tech High, she had to order from Amazon, and it cost her over $500 for her robot because, unfortunately, with Amazon, some third-party sellers and companies can raise the price on Amazon versus on their own websites. So it cost her more. So those are kind of the pros of Harmony. Your pros of My Tech High. It's easier to have third-party classes, co-ops, extracurriculars paid for. Harmony Ed does require all third-party vendors to be approved. This means they have to have a website, they have to have a tax ID, and they have to fill out an application with Harmony Ed to become an approved vendor before Harmony will reimburse your payment to them or give you a check to give to them for your child's extracurricular like dance, karate, etc. My Tech High does not do this. If you have a receipt of any kind, they will reimburse you for that class. So if you have a friend who used to teach piano at a school and now she's a stay-at-home mom and she's teaching piano, she can just write like a written receipt and that will be approved through My Tech High. It wouldn't through Harmony. She would have to have a website and a tax ID, like a tax business ID to be able to become an approved third-party vendor. So it's easier to have your extracurriculars paid for. There is a workaround with Harmony. They do reimburse internet. I believe it's up to $269 a year. I will comment on this video and correct that if that's wrong. I can go into Harmony and figure that out. But it's not, you can't eat up all your budget reimbursing internet. And I last year used my internet reimbursement. I asked for 2 months reimbursed, and it was about the total cost of my children's class, and I just used that to pay for that class once I got that reimbursement. Because I'm paying for internet regardless of whether my kids are in homeschool or not. So for me, that's how I did the workaround. That's how a lot of families do a workaround, because, you know, there's some things like the good and the beautiful. Some of the items are free. Some of them are covered by My Tech High or Harmony, but some of them aren't because they're religious. And sometimes I've heard Harmony families ask for internet reimbursement and then they use that money to buy religious curriculum for their family. So there's workarounds, and that's one I've had to use for third-party vendors for an extracurricular. With My Tech High, you're also going to get less reporting requirements. So if you follow the Unschool philosophy, if I have any people watching this video that are completely brand new to homeschooling and the philosophies, unschooling is essentially where you follow your child's lead on what they're interested in learning about, and there's really no formal school at all. They just learn from life, and living life and following their interests. For those people, they may not have worksheets or examples of work to turn in for Harmony's portfolio. And so they might lean towards My Tech High, where it would be easier to be like, I learned chemistry and math this week baking with my mom. You know, it might be easier for My Tech High. I know it is easier for unschooling families. So there is the benefit if you don't like a lot of reporting requirements, especially if you're used to coming from a state that has a lot of freedom, or you've been a homeschooler in Utah that used the affidavit and you've had to not report at all what your children are learning for a while, but now you want to use one of these things. My Tech High might be the fit for you because of the less reporting requirements. Like I said, there's really not one or the other that's better. You have to pick the best fit for your family. Before I kind of finish this off and close this video, there is one other difference, that it changed this year. However, I still believe it's worth mentioning as a difference. My Tech High in the past, and continuing to do so, will reimburse museum, state park, aquarium, zoo admissions from out of state. Harmony in the past would not. Tammy, a local Harmony representative, has asked for Harmony to change that, and they are changing it this year. They are going to start approving admission from out of state. However, it's new. So there's no way to know exactly if Harmony will say no to ones or others. It's a new program. It's going to take a little bit of work to get through to figure out exactly what is and isn't approved. So it is and isn't a difference, because Harmony is now approving reimbursement for admissions out of state, just like My Tech High, but it's so new with Harmony. So if that's really important to you, you travel a lot to other states for educational opportunities, and go to museums and things like that, and that's really, really important to you, My Tech High may be a better fit this year as Harmony's working out those kinks. But anyways, to break it down, there's pros and cons to each school, and it's really what's a better fit for your family. For example, my son doesn't do a lot of extracurriculars. He is autistic and he just doesn't do well with it, where he's at in life right now. And so to me, it doesn't matter that My Tech High is easier to have those paid for, because I don't need a lot of that paid for right now. That may change as my kids get older and my daughter gets into where she's doing stuff more outside of Hurricane City Recreation, because they are an approved third-party vendor with Harmony, so again, not an issue for us at this time, but I just don't know, obviously. And so right now, Harmony is a better fit for my family. That doesn't make Harmony better than My Tech High. It doesn't make My Tech High better than Harmony. It's just what fits your family. I'm happy to answer Harmony questions. I know Tammy is in our group and she's an official representative of Harmony, and she's happy to answer questions of Harmony. I know several people, including all three of the other admins, Christine, Katie, and Brenda, are with My Tech High and would be happy to answer questions. Christine's hosting an event soon. Again, if you're watching this video any later than July of 2023, you can ignore that event part. But any one of us would be happy to answer questions about these schools. I hope this video helped, and if you have any more questions about Harmony, you've decided to go with that, feel free to message me. And if you have questions about Harmony, I'm sure you could post on the page or reach out to Christine and ask your questions. And if you can make it to that event and you're really interested in My Tech High, I suggest going to that event. She's going to go through how to build courses and the in-depth of that, that I just really don't know how that works. So I hope this helped. I hope this showed you the differences in a non-biased way, and that you can make a decision now for your family, what is best. I'm going to get with Christine and see if I can get that affidavit put up in the files with this video, and I hope you guys have a great homeschool journey. I hope I get to meet you at some of the events, and I hope this helped. Have a great night.